Coming up on OU Nightly. The fight to stop the arena in Norman gets one step closer to success. We'll tell you how.
And nearly record low temperatures last night, when we can see those above average temps once again.
Plus, monarch madness in the heart of Oklahoma. Why biologists are tracking them. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Abigail Franklin.
And I'm Brett Griggs. We begin tonight with the fight for a new arena and entertainment district in Norman. The project is one step closer to a citywide vote.
City Council approved the project and 2 tax districts that would use tax revenue to help pay for the project at a meeting last month. The $1 billion entertainment district would house a new arena to host OU basketball games. The district would also include restaurants, bars, shops, and housing in the area. A group of Norman residents handed over 11,000 signatures to the city clerk this morning. The petition will place the approval of the district in the hands of Norman voters. And we were there when the group turned in their paperwork.
Folks, this is a great day for direct democracy.
Time is up. The last paper is signed.
It's really inspiring to see people so passionate and care.
Oklahomans for Responsible Economic Development needed at least 6,098 signatures.
Well, you're going to have a few thrown out, and you want to have a healthy cushion of signatures above and beyond what you need. For that purpose, and to send a message to the bodies who are in favor of this project that the people believe otherwise.
And the group says it's got plenty to spare.
Our official signatures we are submitting is 11,602. So there you go.
Now, it's all up to the city clerk.
What comes next is the city clerk, Brenda Hall, will spend the next 30 days going over our signatures to verify that they're correct.
What started in City Hall ended in the streets. Today's celebration of civic action even has council members.
I just think that a citizen initiative petition is one of the most basic, fundamental things we have.
And the group says they're happy to have at least one person on city council with them.
I'm really proud of them and the effort they made. I think all Norman residents should be proud. I've thought since the beginning that the public should have the opportunity to directly vote on this issue.
City officials will now count signatures and publish a legal notice on the petition. Residents will have 10 days to protest the petition in district court.
And an accused terrorist in Oklahoma City remains behind bars tonight after being denied bail from a federal judge. Prosecutors say Nasir Tahiti admitted to plotting a mass shooting on Election Day in support of ISIS. A judge says there is probable cause to send him to trial on 2 counts, giving a terrorist organization resources and conspiracy to get firearms for terrorist acts.
The grand jury has indicted the Georgia shooting suspect and his father. El Gedman has that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center.
The alleged Georgia high school shooter and his father have been formally indicted on murder charges. Today, a grand jury charged 14-year-old Colt Gray and his father Colin for the shooting that left 4 people dead and 9 others injured at Appalachia High School last month. The teen suspect is charged with 55 counts under the indictment. Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar has been killed by Israeli forces. Sinwar is viewed as the leader of October 17th's attack on Israel, starting the 13th-month war that has created a humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. Today, Israeli's military confirmed Sinwar's body was found by troops. U.S. military forces say they have no role in the Israeli operation that killed Sinwar. United States B-2 stealth bombers have attacked Iran-backed Houthi weapons. The U.S. officials say the bombers targeted 5 underground weapon storage facilities, which contain advanced conventional weapons. 3 U.S. officials told CNN that the now destroyed weapons were used to fight and target military civilian vessels in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Hurricane Milton could be the most expensive storm in U.S. history. Early estimates show that the storm caused at least $34 million of damage in Florida. Abigail, Brooke, back to you.
Thanks, Elle. Back here in Oklahoma, we had a cold start to the day, but I know we just gotta wait because things are probably gonna be changing around here.
Exactly, and the question is, has sweater weather started, or will we be back in shorts before you know it? OU Nightly meteorologist Rachel Mosshammer, you have more on the weather and what to expect.
Record-breaking lows last night. Look at this, 34 degrees in Oklahoma City. That actually tied with the record in 1976. So we're seeing below average temperatures here at night. Looking at our current temperatures, we've warmed back up today. 70 degrees in Norman, 69 degrees in Oklahoma City, and 77 out in Guyman. Coming up, we'll talk about how those 80s return, that fire risk increases, and game day forecast for your homecoming weekend.
Thanks, Rachel. Many people try to learn a different language, but studies show that the best time to learn one is when you are young. OU Nightly's Tanae Fletcher shows us how a school here in Norman is putting those studies to the test.
From the outside, Lamond International seems to be a normal public school, but when you step inside, you are shown a whole new world. The charter school located in Norman opened in 2018, and unlike others, students from pre-K to 8th grade not only get to learn a new language, but are exposed to a new culture.
We were able to become a charter school in March of 2017. The State Board of Educators approved it. My hope was that I can create a school in which kids would be able to learn the beauty of language.
At Lamond, students are taught French or Spanish through language immersion. A student's courses are taught anywhere between 50 to 100% in the target language.
I heard that there was a place here in Norman where teachers from different countries, different cultures were like teaching here. I remember telling my husband, I need to apply there. I want to work there.
While learning a new language is great, many bilingual speakers understand the phrase, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. But here at Lamond, with a new program on the horizon, they can ensure that kids will take their skills outside of the classroom to ensure that no loss will be happening anytime soon.
But the idea is to give the students an opportunity to get into the community, speak the language, see how it can be utilized in their daily life, and then also just supporting our local business community.
The Bilingual Village is a chance for Lamond students to get real-world interactions and to use their skills with local businesses and organizations. While the school is still looking for more partnerships, they hope to begin the new program in the spring. While Lamond is focused on building bilingual students, their hope is to also build a family.
Es como trabajar con amigos y trabajar en una gran familia y compartir lo que tienes y comparten contigo también. So, yo me siento muy feliz de estar aquí.
A family that is worldwide. Tanae Fletcher, United.
Thanks, Tanae. Still ahead, it's an Oklahoma tradition to step outside and watch as they fly south.
What you can learn about the Oklahoma staple.
Plus, check the date on deli meats.
Find out what items you could have that's on the recall list when we return.
Tonight, an alert as one company recalls millions of pounds of meat. Savannah Simmons has that and more in today's Health Beat.
Yes, ladies, check your freezer. An Oklahoma-based deli company expands its recall of meat and poultry items due to a listeria risk. Bruce Pack, based out of Durant, is recalling nearly 12 million pounds of meat and poultry items after routine testing that found the contamination last week. The company says no illnesses have been reported so far. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission approves a new rule aimed at preventing infant deaths linked to support cushions. According to the agency, between 2010 and 2022, 79 deaths and 124 injuries were linked to products like infant loungers. The new rule would require additional testing of the product to avoid risk of suffocation or falls. A recent study shows added cervical cancer treatment could cut down the risk of dying from the disease. Researchers say a 6-week course of chemotherapy, along with the standard course of treatment, lead to a higher survival rate for patients included in that study. And Coca-Cola recalls more than 13,000 cases of Minute Maid zero sugar lemonades that were mislabeled. The FDA says the drinks are actually contained the full sugar amount. Abigail, Brooke.
Thanks, Savannah. Looks like no more lemonade for me. You may have seen little orange and black creatures flying all around lately. That's because Oklahoma has a special place in a monarch's migration. OU Nightly's Olivia Hayes tells us more on the state's significance and conservation efforts. Olivia.
As fall rolls around, monarch butterflies set off on their annual journey down what some call the Monarch Highway.
At this point in the year, monarchs are migrating south, so they're going back to Mexico to their overwintering grounds.
Making a pit stop in the Sooner State.
We are centrally located on their migratory path. Oklahoma plays a really important role in terms of nectar sources and shelter for monarchs along the way south.
Cheyenne Gonzalez with Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation is leading a tagging effort on some of the butterflies.
This year we had 5 tagging sessions over that 4-day period, and we tagged 300 monarchs.
The program allows a hands-on opportunity for biologists and the public with the orange and black insects, but also helps collect data. Data from the butterflies' spring migration shows a nearly 60% decrease in the monarch population. Harsh weather conditions played a significant role in those numbers.
So as they came up from Mexico through around mid-March into April, they experienced very drought-ridden areas, which when they go to feed, there's not a lot of nectar for them, which ends up, killing them off.
And if you want to get involved in the conservation and growth efforts of the monarch population, Gonzalez says you can plant Oklahoma native plants like sunflowers. They provide food and shelter for monarchs and other pollinators in the area. In Norman, Olivia Hayes, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Olivia. For more local information on monarchs and how you can take part in their journey, visit okiesformonarchs.org. And still ahead, it's homecoming week on campus, and the fun has already begun.
How students lit up their homecoming festivities coming up next.
And how long those cooler temperatures are going to stick around and what you can expect at kickoff for your homecoming weekend when we come back. Welcome back to OU Nightly. We are so glad to have you here on this Thursday afternoon. We're looking at our Weather Center cam right now. Conditions outside, we don't have a cloud in the sky. Looking at our Weather Center cam, you wouldn't know that it is 70 degrees outside. It's a little chilly from what we've seen last week. We've got winds out of the southeast at 13 miles an hour, so that's bringing that warmer air up and those warmer temperatures from what we saw yesterday. Current temperatures here in the metro, 70 degrees in Norman, 69 in Oklahoma City, 77 out in Guymon. So a little bit warmer than what we saw yesterday. But we're going to cool down later on tonight and then again see warmer temperatures next week. For your wind gusts right now, even though we are seeing 13 miles per hour, it's out of the southeast. The wind gusts are a little bit higher, 22 in Norman, 46 out in Guymon. So they're seeing that gusty weather up there, which could bring an elevated fire risk later on this afternoon. Now, we don't usually associate that colder temperatures with those elevated fire risks, but since we haven't seen rain in quite a little bit here in the metro, it's definitely going to elevate our risk. We're looking at Norman right now. That little bubble, wherever we are not seeing that drought, it's slowly starting to close in. We haven't seen rain in about a month here in Norman. So again, we're at an extreme risk out in the southeastern parts of Oklahoma, so they definitely have not seen rain in quite a while. So that elevated fire risk, once again, we're going to see an elevated fire risk through most of the state, taking up half of the state tonight. It's going to continue throughout tomorrow. Now, we do have another chance for rain later on next week, but those warmer temperatures are going to come in through Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Our next storm system is set up to the west. It's going to make its trek east. And as it makes its trek east, we're again going to see those temperatures warm up. But our next rain chance could be as early as Monday morning. So maybe not enough to put a dent into the drought, but again, keeping it here with OU Nightly, and we'll keep you updated on all those rain chances. But again, those temperatures are going to stick around through Monday evening. Lows tonight, we'll see 50 degrees in Norman, 52 in Oklahoma City. Highs Friday, 74 in Norman, 74 in Oklahoma City, so we're definitely warming right back up. Your game day forecast for homecoming, we'll see 58 at tailgate, 66 degrees at kickoff, and then 70 degrees at halftime. So we'll see some pretty comfortable temperatures for your homecoming game. Looking at our seven-day forecast, we're seeing Friday 74 degrees, and then we'll warm right back up into the 80s next week. So definitely saying goodbye to those fall-like temperatures, Brooke. I see you've already got your sweater out. You definitely were anticipating that sweater weather the past couple weeks.
I was waiting for it. I told you I'm wearing a sweater once it gets like right weather for it, and it is, and now it's going away again. So I guess we'll wait another couple of weeks.
Right. Okay, listen. I will always find a way to keep the long sleeves out. I don't care if it's 80 degrees or if it's 50, the long sleeves are always going to be with me. So thanks for our check of the weather, Rachel. All right, the Campus Activities Council is gearing up for the big homecoming game this Saturday. And to get the party started, they hosted a glow run last night. The Glow in the Dark 5K was put on in partnership with the OU Dance Marathon. The goal of the Glow Run was to spread awareness of childhood cancer and get students excited for homecoming.
A lot of people, yes, you can read about things and look online for information, yes, but we just wanted to rally enough people just to kind of come to do an activity and just be like, we're giving back to a cause more.
For other exciting homecoming events this weekend, you can visit ou.edu/homecoming. All right, well, it is homecoming weekend, but Darby, I gotta ask, coming off that rough loss with Texas, what can our Sooner fans expect?
Yeah, what can the Sooners do to rebound after that bad performance?
Guys, while OU football may have disappointed OU fans last weekend, the SEC injury report may give some fans some hope for the South Carolina game. Find out who could be coming back next in sports. Hello, I'm Darby McCormick, and it's time for sports. OU football will take the field this Saturday in front of a whiteout crowd in Gaylord Finley Memorial Stadium. But there are some players that OU fans should not count on seeing against South Carolina. 4 wide receivers, 2 defensive backs, and 1 O-lineman are out, with Deion Burks labeled as questionable after missing last week's game. On both sides of the ball, Sooner players agree they need to improve against the Gamecocks.
I feel like all around we all have to do a better job. So I don't want to put it on anybody, and I feel like it starts with the players because they can only do so much. We have to go out there and execute. So just like I said, the details, and we have to work on that.
No matter where we are on the field, we have to just live up to the standard. I think later on, guys were trying to make plays. And I was just leaving up, open gaps and missed assignments, and that's unacceptable. I think as a defense, we have to be better.
Well, OU softball took a trip of their own over the Red River to take care of business, and that they did. Pitching staff was on fire, 0 runs and walks, 2 hits, and 5 strikeouts. Ella Parker hit her own home run as well, putting the Sooners up in the 4th. And then let's look at another home run. Hannah Court knocks one off the scoreboard. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. They head back over the Red River with a 19-0 victory. Next up will be Seminole State College, October 23rd at home. And while softball heads back over the Red River, cross country trots over it to Texas A&M for the Arturo Barrios Invitational. 9 male OU runners will race in the 8K on Friday at 8 a.m., while 13 female runners will be in the 6K at 9:15 a.m. And who will not be running up and down the court to start this Thunder regular season next week is Isaiah Hartenstein. The Thunder say he suffered a small break in his hand Tuesday against the Denver Nuggets and will be reevaluated in 5 to 6 weeks. But injuries aside, the Thunder heads into tonight's game against former Sooner Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks, looking to wrap up the preseason slate at home. After blowing out the Denver Nuggets by 30 Tuesday night, a rematch is set for the season opener October 20th. And speaking of former Sooners, Spencer Rattler will take on another former Sooner, Marvin Mims, and the Broncos tonight in NOLA. The Saints are hoping to break a 4-game losing streak, and why not, when the Saints are 5-0 in the last 5 matchups against the Broncos. Abigail, Brooke?
Thanks, Darby. Everyone knows the childhood story of Happy Feet and how dancing made this penguin unique.
But this penguin might be just a bit too old to dance, and find out how her handlers are helping her out coming up.
I'm Madison Daly, following the scheduled execution of a Texas man that's now in question after a last-minute subpoena. Tonight, Robert Robertson is set to be executed for the death of his 2-year-old daughter in 2002. Last night, the Texas House Committee called for Robertson's testimony to possibly reconsider his conviction. Unless a last-minute stay is issued, Robertson will be put to death by lethal injection, making him the first death row inmate to be put to death for shaken baby syndrome. Abigail, Brooke?
Thanks, Madison. We'll be following that story. Well, just north of us, an elderly penguin at the Kansas City Zoo will be staying warm with her own personal wetsuit.
Yes, Bridget is one of the oldest penguins in the country, outliving a penguin's lifespan by over 15 years.
Because of her age, Bridget lost most of her feathers, so zookeepers designed the zoo's first ever wetsuit.
Now, Bridget is still able to walk and play in the snow with her fellow penguins while staying warm and cozy.
Well, we had to stay warm and cozy this morning with those cold temperatures. I know all of us felt it, but I'm expecting that it's probably going to change. So, Rachel, what can you tell us in your last check of the weather?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're definitely not as cold as the penguins, but we are pretty cold here in October. We saw almost freezing temperatures here in the metro last night, but we're going to warm right back up next week. For your homecoming weekend, we'll see 76 degrees, which I will definitely take that over the 95 we saw for kickoff last week. But it'll be a little bit cooler since we're starting off in the morning, and then again, those 80s next week.
Alrighty, well, it looks like it's going to be some nice weather for our, our football game. Not too bad, but
just
cold
tailgating.
tailgate. Yeah, for sure. All right, well, thanks for watching. Nightly.
We'll be live again at 4:30 tomorrow. Good night.